Is the market gonna crash? A lot of people are expecting it. Man, there's so much to talk about when it comes to the S&P 500 being at all-time highs. What do you do with your positions? I've seen people talk about it on and on and on again because it's feeling like 1999. Tech stocks are rallying, AI hype. Everyone's posting all their huge gains on Twitter or X. It's crazy out here if you're an investor. So let's talk about what we're seeing in the market. What do you guys think is gonna happen? And what should you do with your money or with your positions, and what I'm doing with my positions? Let's talk about it in this video. As you can see, the S&P 500 is at all-time highs, and this is coming off the back of a good 2024. So this huge run in the stock market is just getting overheated. That's how a lot of people are feeling right now. And on top of this, gold is at all-time highs as well. Like, what is going on? Usually if everyone's in stocks, maybe the gold market is not doing as good, but man, the stock market and the gold market are both booming. So we can kind of get the hint of the gold market because a lot of people get into gold as an inflation protection, and people are getting into gold because there's a lot of turmoil in the world right now. We have wars. We have the Trump tariffs at the beginning of the year. Remember, gold's up around 50% for the year. Like, that's insane. Like, gold's doing better than a lot of stocks that are actually generating real earnings, man. And people are just afraid about the economic tides, the dollar going down. There's a lot going on in the economy. We see the housing market is not doing as good as well, especially in a lot of places in the States. Like, I'm here in Toronto and the housing market's not doing as good. People in Florida are complaining about the housing market not doing as good. So you can see the wave of things that people are scared about. And that's why people are just going towards gold, because gold feels like a safe haven. You can kind of put the gold under the table or under your mattress and kind of hedge the inflation or hedge the impact of something happening in the long run. So you can see a lot of people are doing that right now. We're gonna go through this article. This article basically explains like why people are kind of worried about the S&P 500 index and if it's a bubble, because if it's another 1999 bubble, then people should get out of the market, because look what happened during that time. Stocks were down 50% and it took around like 2 to 3 years to recover, and a lot of stocks in that overhyped market didn't recover. And this is all fueled from the AI boom a lot of people are feeling. So let's read some of this article, or some of the main things that we can talk about. The mega cap strength was evident in the rising market concentration, with the top 10 stocks surpassing 40% of the S&P 500 market cap for the first time since 1972. So look what's happening. The concentration in these main companies: Nvidia, Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, Broadcom, Meta, Alphabet again, Tesla, Berkshire. Like, the concentration of these stocks have like never been seen in like 53 years. These stocks are driving majority of the gains in the S&P 500. The index gain is more concentrated to a small number of companies than it has been at any time for at least 53 years. Like, that's insane. And that kind of shows you where the concentration is at. And 11 stocks of the 10 companies now make up 40% of the S&P portfolio. So all the other companies are not doing as good, or if they're doing as good, they're kind of like flatlining. Any hiccups in these companies can drive the S&P 500 down really fast. So there's a high valuation risk with these companies. And the S&P 500 weighted forward price earnings ratio is 23. That is the highest it's been since the early 2021, when the index forward PE was slightly higher. The highest forward PE over the past 20 years was 24 early September 2020, when the earnings estimates were still depressed for some industries because of COVID-19. The index hasn't traded much higher than its current valuation since March 2000, when its forward PE peaked at 26. So 23 now compared to 26 when it peaked in 2000. So you can kind of see a resemblance there. And remember, the concentration risk is higher now than there. But then people are going to make the argument that the companies now are way better than they were before, when there's like oil stocks and like banking stocks in the top stocks then. So what do you think about that? Like, the companies now are very higher. The companies now are higher quality, like Google, Meta. Like, they have bigger moats. So the current combination of a high PE and a very high concentration indicate a high level of risk for the S&P 500. And if you are of the opinion that the current stock boom that has been fed by the anticipation of a pot of gold. Their massive spending on data centers, equipment, staff to develop artificial intelligence isn't likely to be supported by an AI-driven earnings. Maybe you should lower your exposure to the cap-weighted S&P 500. So this is just showing you that if the AI boom is not panning out, if all this capital spent doesn't lead to actual better profits, higher profits, better margins, then this is all a waste. It's all overhyped, and this is all just like, it's all gonna burn on fire. So if you're not gonna predict that the AI spend is actually gonna generate real profits, then damn, like, this can turn out really bad. But if it does, that's where people are excited about AI. This video of Ken actually talks about this, the CEO of Citadel, how if this actually pans out, this reminds him back in the tech boom where everything was actually going crazy. The internet is supposed to do all the amazing things, but it took longer than expected. It might take 20 to 30 years to actually show gains, just like the internet did. Everyone was overhyped in the internet and people were spending so much money. Pets.com was at all-time highs. Think about it, a company called Pets.com before it ended up crashing. So he's seeing similarities kind of there. This can take longer than people are expecting. So who knows what's really going to happen. But if it does crash, we can see 20-30% declines in the market easily.
Large language models in particular have been in existence for a few years. I think there's a real chance that when we think about the forms of AI that are alluded to by many of the market's leaders today, that their dream for the future may not take 3 to 5 years to play out. It could be 20 years. It could be 30 years. You know, it's like the internet, and people hate this analogy, but like the dot-com moment back at the start of this century, did anyone have any doubt that the internet was going to change the world? No. Has the internet changed the world? Absolutely. But did it take longer than anticipated? And was there a period in which there was a real sort of sorting of the winners and losers that took place? Unequivocally. Unequivocally. And I think that the AI story will have many of the same components.
And then when you look at what the GOAT Warren Buffett is doing, he's selling a lot of stocks. Like, he just sold out of BYD. He's been selling Apple. He has this huge cash pile, $340 billion, the highest he's ever had. So like, what is Warren Buffett waiting for? Is he waiting for a crash? Does he see the market as too expensive? But guys, you can't really look at Warren Buffett because Warren Buffett can't buy what we can. I truly believe if Warren Buffett was an investor now with under $1 million or $1 million, he would be fully invested. He would go all over the place to find companies that he can invest in, because with that much money, he only can invest in a small amount of companies like the Googles, the Metas, because any money he puts in has to make a dent and has to actually generate gains. So you have to generate gains on like 30, 40 billion dollars, and that's going to really move a company, really move a market. So you have to find companies that you can put 50, 60 billion dollars in. How many companies can he actually put that much money into? Not a lot in the stock market, and he's really focused on the US as well. So you can't really look at Warren Buffett as like a guideline on how to invest and if you should stash your money away, because he's playing a different game at his level of wealth. But what I'm seeing in the market is that yes, the S&P 500 can be overpriced, it can be worth too much, but at the same time, you can still find value in the market. Go to places where value is at, and I've been going to China again and again because I'm seeing stocks under 3, 4 PE. I'm seeing stocks still paying a 6-7% dividend. Guys, if you're a small investor, there's value everywhere. Like, you cannot say you can't find something to do. You have the whole market. You're not turning over enough rocks to find companies in your wheelhouse, in my opinion. So guys, if you're an investor now, I know the S&P is at all-time highs. You're worried about the market, but you can still find value if you're searching for it. So that's my opinion on the market. The market is very high, very expensive, but if you do your due diligence, if you work hard, you can still find value in the market. Guys, if you like this video, like and subscribe to my channel.